I'll be. SummerSlam's around the corner, but we're talking about the black and gold with the red and black, gold and red brands. NXT and NXT UK. It's Draped in Gold. Hello, everyone. My name is Flobo Boys, and thank you so much for watching and experiencing this live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, on Twitch, especially if you're on the Twitch. Drop me a follow. We're breaking down all the action here on NXT and NXT UK, but as always, I am not alone. I'm being joined by the man from the Wrestling Inc. Raw Recap Show, as well as Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and as well as Santino Brothers Wrestling Academy. Give it up for Real Jack Farmer. What's going on, sir?
Man, it's been a crazy time to be a wrestling fan. I had a fun time, speaking of Santino Brothers, just to talk about stuff I'm working on. Got to work with Adnan Qureshi, who is the ring announcer for New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong. And it was very fun to work with him this past week for Santino Brothers Up All Night. We called the action in the main event. He did some ring announcing as well. Got to work with him. And just kind of cool, the people you get to work with when you're out there doing the thing.
Why is it called Up All Night? Let me ask you that.
Because we go all night long.
I kind of walk right into that one.
Or about an hour, depending on
I had about enough. That's the middle age. It's a party. I'll go for an hour. That's pretty much all I'll do. If you guys are watching and commenting in the chat, make sure you do that. We'll answer your questions as the hour goes on. And Jack is telling me that he's a superstar, so it's pretty cool to see he's doing things at nighttime as well.
Yeah, that's when the stars shine brightest.
Deep and hard sexist. NXT UK is up first, and our tag team contest was our main event. Mustache Mountain, the elder statesman of NXT UK, had a little bit of a side plate check, if you will, against Pretty Deadly. That was our main event. Seems Pretty Deadly retained. I'm going to say I was surprised, but Jack's going to say he's not surprised. But what I am surprised about is how they won. Jack, take it away.
So how amazing is this? Pretty Deadly showing up, looking better than Tom Selleck and Burt Reynolds together, outdoing Mustache Mountain in the mustache game. And Flobo, let me tell you, if Pretty Deadly wanted to be better mountains, they could be better mountains than Mustache Mountain if they wanted to. But they come out here and they have a great match. This one was incredibly competitive. My heart was skipping beats multiple times. I clutched my pearls, Flobo. But in the end, not only did Pretty Deadly win, but they won twice. Not only did Mustache Mountain throw in the towel, but they also got pinned. This should count as 2 wins for Pretty Deadly.
I don't know what's more ridiculous, the mustaches Pretty Deadly had, or the fact you wear a suit with pearls, Jack. They're cheaters. They're cheaters. They cheated once, they cheated twice, and they should get caught. That match should be stricken from the record, and there should be a rematch.
Well, of course, I don't expect you to understand fashion like side plate checks. Yes, boy. But
right.
Throw it from the record. These guys, by the way, should have been DQ'd Mustache Mountain when they pulled the hair of Pretty Deadly. Did you see how they pulled their mustaches right off their faces? That is an illegal move. You're not allowed to do that. They should have been DQ'd there, but the champions, being the champions they are, fighting through the cheating shenanigans of Mustache Mountain and able to continue on. And I can only imagine the pain they went through when that happened, having their mustaches pulled off. But man, champions do what champions do, and Pretty Deadly are some pretty deadly champions.
You know those mustaches were glued on, so therefore they're costumes, not hair. I don't know why you're even arguing this, Jack. Not at all.
Let's pretend you were right. Let's pretend they were glued on. Could you imagine having something glued to your face, ripped off, and having to continue doing whatever it is you're doing? These guys deserve a medal.
Are you kidding me? Danny Luna got her hair ripped out, and the ref was like, play on.
Don't change the subject.
That's the same subject. Hair's being removed. Same subject.
Her extension getting ripped out has nothing to do. It's nothing the same. Not the same at all.
Don't float in space, Jack. They're attached to actual hair.
She had her extension ripped out. That's not nearly the same thing as having facial hair attached to your face, ripped out and pulled off.
Okay. the match itself. Pretty Deadly is, you agree that this was their toughest challenge yet as champions? Agree or disagree?
I would agree. This one was a look. If you're a fan of pro wrestling and if you're watching NXT UK, I'm guessing you are. This is exactly what you look for. This was a great match. These guys really went at it. I have to say, Mustache Mountain really stepped up. And if they were facing any other tag team, they may have had a chance.
I'm actually going to give a little bit of credit, a modicum of credit over there, Jack, because when I think it was Howley, one of them, when they kicked out of the Tyler Driver 97, I was like, oh, like I don't think anyone's kicked out of a Tyler Driver 97 that quickly before. So I guess they're kind of earning their keep. It was kind of a weird idea to have them be champions, at least to me, but this seems to be a bona fide thing.
One thing and I think we'll agree on this too. And I will say I agree with you on the Tyler Driver. I thought that was it because that's the move that's put away so many people. But something I think you and I will both agree on as well is in NXT UK, just getting to a title shot is so difficult. It's so arduous. And for them to get there and get the title shot and then to win the titles and then to defend it, becoming a champion in NXT really, really means something. And I don't mean that with any disrespect to any other company, brands, whatever. But if you get a title shot and you win a title in NXT UK, you have to be one of the best in the world. And I think over the past few months, Pretty Deadly, love them or love them a lot, they're proving that they are some of the best in the world.
I want to talk to the hater in the chat, Lamb, who says it's not the same. Mustache Mountain did it on purpose as far as pulling out, getting the hair pulled out. Danny Luna lost some of her hair when she slipped from the turnbuckle. Different story. Flobo, get it right. You know what, Lamb? I like how you listen every week just to trash me, bro. Yeah. Don't listen to Jackie Fennis.
Lamb is making fantastic points, by the way. This fake news you have, this skew you have, that you always try to slant things towards the wrestlers you like, as opposed to trying to give real, honest feedback. It's not a good look, Flobo.
Let's talk about wrestlers I do like. At top of the card, which was surprising to me because I thought it would have been a main event here, Stevie Turner takes on Meiko Satomura with Mila McKenzie. That's a question about in a second. For the NXT UK Women's Championship, and the final boss wins once again. Stevie Turner did a fantastic showing. In fact, it was my favorite wrestling match of the week. I know, crazy praise. Jack Farmer, questions I have. Stevie Turner, did she show out and prove who she was? Is Meiko Satomura truly and bona fide still the final boss? And what is the deal with Mila McKenzie?
So first and foremost, of course, we have Stevie Turner looking like a Fortnite character. She's a video game character, though. She did run into that final boss today, but you make a good point. She showed she belonged up there with a very unorthodox approach to things, whether it be the way she does that flatliner off the ropes, or which she wasn't able to get today, but the way she would run to the ropes and change direction mid-run and hit Meiko Satomura with those kicks, very Dakota Kai-like in many moments, I noticed, hitting those big extended leg boots to the face of the final boss. But again, it wasn't enough. Meiko using the STF and not that Scorpion Rising kick that she likes to win with. I think you can see just how good Stevie Turner was by the fact that Meiko had to use a different move to get the win today.
It did feel like it was a showcase for both these ladies. Meiko Satomura has a very distinct flavor in her matches, but definitely found something different taking it to Stevie Turner. I was a bit concerned that this match was a bit too quick for Stevie, but then I realized it's kind of what NXT UK does. There's a lot of people on that roster that cut the line and decide to go to the top. They get cut down and they come back stronger and smarter. So is Stevie Turner the most intelligent person on the roster to saying, let me get that part out of the way first?
It's a good point. This is a very cliche comment, but iron sharpens iron, right? And I think in NXT UK, the wrestlers there know that if you want to be the very best and you want to get in there with the very best, you have to put yourselves in the fire and be forged with the very best to become the sharpest you can be. And I think Stevie Turner knows she's not going to reach that level just practicing with other people who are still in training. She needs to be in there with the very best, and she got that rep tonight. And to your point, I think she's going to be a lot more dangerous and a lot tougher after today, even though she took the L.
Elliot Fletcher says, is Stevie Turner related to Kushida? They're both futuristic and all the dimensions as well, good sir. And Lamb says, the story that Amelia went to Mako Satomura Sentai's girls pro wrestling promotion to get better before a comeback to NXT UK. Mako is her mentor, which I agree. But the thing I have a question is that it seemed that for a while there at NXT UK, they were trying to keep them separate. But now it seems like, oh, we're just going to go back to that story, which is not necessarily bad or wrong. But I wonder if this is going to be a continuation of that, or is Amelia McKenzie going to turn on Mako Satomura?
Well, see, Flobo, you're smarter than I give you credit for sometimes. I think that's what it is. I think what Mackenzie's doing right now is she's hanging on the outside, and she's seeing that Mako Satomura, as we said, the past few weeks, she's been stirring up the hornet's nest. She's been getting everyone all excited, getting everyone to come after her. She's drawing a line in the sand and saying the line starts here. And right now, Mako just had a very tough defense. She took a little bit of a beating, but came out with a win. She's going to have another defense and another defense and another defense. And eventually the miles and the matches are going to start adding up. And Mackenzie's got a front row seat to know the exact right time to say now is when too much is added up, and take advantage and possibly show her mentor that she has surpassed her.
That's a good point. I know this match here was definitely Mako going to the ladies' locker room, saying, grab the brass ring. Stevie Turner's like, I'm doing it. After a match like this, which Mako did win, I'm not taking that away from her, but she got pushed to the limit a little bit. Would she be open to more open challenges again? Or do you think she'll say, you know what? I'm going back to the top of the mountain. You have to earn your way to go through me. I'll pick and choose my opponents after that.
Mako Satomura's got a lot of pride. I think once she set a precedent, she's not going to back away from it, because I think she's the kind of person that knows if she was to step away from these open challenges, it's kind of admitting defeat in a way. It's kind of admitting maybe she bit off more than she can chew. I don't think that's the kind of person Mako Satomura is. I think she's going to double down and say, look, I said I'm going to take open challenges. I'm going to take open challenges. Who's next? Goldberg. Who's next? I think that's what she's going to say.
Dude, if Goldberg showed up at NXT UK, I can just imagine the scene of like him showing up with the pyro, then like 8 dudes like Rampage Brown showing up, like, get him.
I imagine he walks out, and I just imagine him walking out, the pyro clears, and you see Walter's hand go, slap, and he just goes, ow!
Respect our ring. Speaking of ows, let's talk about this match here. Apparently, your boy Eddie Dennis had the bright idea to face the wild man Saxon Huxley in a contest, and before long he was folded up like a matchbook. But that being said, after the matchup, Symbiosis got involved and exerted their dominance. Now, yes, they were the ones standing tall, as per your buddy Eddie Dennis on Twitter said, but Eddie Dennis did lose to a man with a less than desirable win-loss record. What do you make of that, Jack?
You threw a lot of assumptions out there, Flobo.
Just one.
Have you seen Saxon Huxley lately? This is what the guy does. He wanders around yelling and screaming to himself like a total marauding madman. Let me correct myself. Not like a madman. He is a madman. So when he goes out to the ring, who's to say he's even scheduled for a match? He's probably just walking around like crazy. But that's when Eddie Dennis shows up. Eddie Dennis, look, he knows how to speak to people who might be a little more crazy, a little more wild. You look at Symbiosis and the people around him. You have these guys that have been more animalistic, but he knows how to work with them. So he walks out and he says, guys, go to the back. Go to the back. And he comes out to the ring. And the first thing he does, he looks at the camera and he goes, shh. He's trying to calm Saxon Huxley down, trying to calm him down, trying to speak to him like a person, trying to reason.
He's not a ringmaster.
Listen. So this is what happens. Look, I know Eddie Dennis is a well-read person. Nigel even said it. He reads 2 books a week. So I know he's very familiar with the Edgar Rice Burroughs classic Tarzan, a movie or a book about this animalistic, evil, wild man living in the jungle. And suddenly this intelligent, good-natured, civilized person comes and takes him and tries to help him and try to make him a better person. But much like the book, Tarzan just says, no, I'm still going to be evil. I'm still going to be bad. I'm still going to be this wild person. And even though Eddie Dennis tried his best, sometimes I think if you're going to try to help somebody, you need to use the stick and not the carrot. And that's what happened after the match today.
Lamb in the chat says, what a great analysis by Jack about Eddie Dennis, which I have to say, you got to be off your rocker, good sir. For weeks, Eddie Dennis is saying he's the toughest guy, he's smart, he's pointing to his temple more than Jericho did in 1990s. And then you have someone that only showed up that basically shut him up, and he couldn't take it. Had to call his boys, had to bring his gang warfare back into the ring. I'll argue that Saxon was a bit more civilized than Eddie Dennis here. And because not only the fact that Eddie Dennis has a friend named Primate, it's because he couldn't take a loss well enough alone.
Going to violence immediately is the easiest and most uncivilized way.
It's wrestling, Jack. That's what we do. It's violence.
So that's why Eddie Dennis, he was trying to make Saxon Huxley better. He's trying to improve him, much like Primate. Primate was a very similar situation as Saxon Huxley, but then Eddie Dennis spoke some sense into him. He knew how to communicate with him because, again, Eddie Dennis knows how to communicate and educate. Those are the two most important things. He brought that to Saxon Huxley. Now, Saxon Huxley may be a little bit slower than what we all originally thought. And that's why Eddie Dennis needed to change his tactics and, like I said, use a little bit of the stick. Try to show him that listening to someone like Eddie Dennis is smarter than not listening to him. Instead of those crazy voices Saxon must be hearing in his head, I can't believe you're empowering him to listen to his crazy voices.
I assume signing up for NXT UK's contract is a psychological evaluation. But if you want to listen to Jack and hit him up on Twitter and say how wrong he is, at Real Jack Farmer, please let him know he's off base when it comes to Eddie Dennis situation. I have no idea what's on his mind whatsoever. But talk about the last part of that matchup, the crucifix power bomb. Do you power bomb your friends to make them find sense in things?
When they're talking crazy. And, one of these days, if you're not careful, maybe Symbiosis and I are going to show up to your place and I'll have to powerbomb some sense into you, Flobo.
And the worst part about it is usually I'll say Eddie Dennis doesn't know that you're alive, but he literally says Jack has my back on Twitter. It happened today, so I'm a little afraid.
Yeah, it's true.
I like T-Bone. He's cool. Stop.
Those would be famous last words.
I know. Before we get to our final match, which is Isle Dawn versus Danny Luna, I want your thoughts about the Rampage or Coffee match. The third match is on the horizon. I didn't really think this was going to have a part 3 final chapter, but what do you think of it? Is it really going to be the culmination of their story, or something else is going to happen involved in this one? It is no pinfalls are allowed, only submissions or knockouts.
You know what I love about this match happening next week? This just tickled me. I love it. There's going to be a lot of new eyeballs seeing NXT UK on NXT TakeOver this week, and they're going to see Walter versus Dragunov, and it's going to be such a hard-hitting, brutal affair. I think a lot of people are going to say that was really hard-hitting. I wonder if it's always like that on NXT UK. Maybe I'll try tuning in this week. And what are they going to see? They're going to see Coffee versus Rampage, and boy, howdy, are they going to see that is how the brand works and that it's hard-hitting. It's going to be, for the lack of a better term, a 1-2 punch that is really going to show people just how tough this brand is.
Yeah, that is all men in that meat, in that ring right there. Slapping meat, baby. That's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be like Lamb says, it may be a match that you're a candidate if they're given the time to make that happen. But yeah, no pinfalls, so it's gonna be something on next level.
Yeah, I don't. What I love about this situation too is because with NXT UK, these guys just beat each other so much in matches that I can just see them going to knockout with just their fists. So many other places you hear like a last man standing match type scenario, and they've got to go all over the place and do all these crazy things. And look, that may happen next week. We're gonna have to tune in to find out, but it would not shock me if Coffee hits Rampage so hard he knocks him out just with a fist. It would not shock me if Rampage is able to powerbomb the crap out of Coffee so much he can't get up. These guys hit so hard, and it comes so fast and so often that this might just be two bulls running into each other. I cannot wait for that matchup.
Just real quick, who do you got in the future? I know you like doing predictions, but I'm putting you to the wall here. Coffee or Brown?
I'm going to go Coffee. Rampage. I'm going to go Rampage.
What? Rampage.
No. So
hedge your bets.
I mixed up. So I'm going to pick Rampage Brown to win this match. And the reason is because I've been saying for a while, Gallus boys are fractured right now. They're not working together as a unit. They work best when they're all on the same page. And right now you have Wolfgang going off doing his thing, Coffee doing his thing, the other Coffee doing his thing. They're not working together. It doesn't seem like they're focused enough. And I think that might be the thing that undoes Joe Coffey in his match against Rampage Brown. Rampage Brown doesn't have other plates spinning. He doesn't have things on the back burner. He's got one thing in mind, and that is putting down Joe Coffey. And that's why I got to back Rampage Brown on this one. I think he's all in on getting the win next week.
To be fair, I think I have Joe Coffey win this one, but I can't argue with that rationale. I really can't. It does seem that Gallus isn't as strong as they were ever since losing the tag team titles. And I'm not sure. And that thing you can do, I can do better thing that Mark Coffey and Wolfgang are doing. It's fun, it's cute, but not quite the core mission. But I'm going to go with Joe. But I really don't have like a nice rationale. So I think on points alone, you would have won this debate. But we got to move on to the final match of the evening. Isla Dawn versus Daniel Luna of Subculture. And well, Daniel Luna's been hitting the gym because we're seeing a lot more of that kinetic movement. That range of motion has been like doubled since joining the Subculture crew. And she gets the win here, but not before Isla Dawn creeps me out. One, it takes a lock of her hair. I don't know if it's okay with Jack to do that now. Two, thoughts about that match?
So, yeah, I got to give Dani Luna credit. You know, I don't like to give Subculture a whole lot of credit, but you got to give Dani Luna a lot of credit here because she was already powerful. But yeah, you're right. The way she's been able to move and the things she's been able to do and the results in the ring clearly speak for themselves. I was really bummed out, though. I was really hoping Isla Dawn got the win here because we always want people who give it their all to do well, right? And I look at Isla Dawn, and no one has given more to being successful in the ring than Isla Dawn. I mean, we talk about what you do with your body in the gym and what you put yourself through, but Isla Dawn feels like she may have sold her soul to get to the next level here. She may have really backed it all to get to the next level here. And to not get a win, it was heartbreaking for me, but she did get that lock of hair, and I just get this sneaky feeling that might have been a bigger win than getting the actual win here today.
Yeah, Lamb agrees with the chat. He says, Daniel Luna won the match, but Isla Dawn is a real winner because she got what she wanted for whatever reason. I got to agree. What is going on, man? Is she joining a cult? Is she looking inside? Are there more Isla Dawn disciples? What do you expect?
She's going to go to the stylist and say, this is the color green I want my hair to be.
Oh, right. That was the whole idea. I beat it out of my opponent.
I couldn't explain it, so I just went and got it.
She's like, take a picture next time, Jesus.
But I don't know. There's been some weird stuff with Isla Dawn. She's been doing things, and usually, especially in NXT UK, if you're not getting dubs, then it's hard to find you to be interesting. But I'm still very fascinated to see what's going on with Isla Dawn, what's next for her. I feel like right now, this is that calm before the storm for her. I think some big things are on the horizon.
My final thought before moving on to NXT Prime is that this, even though it wasn't official, it did feel like this week and even next week maybe like one of NXT UK split pay-per-view on-show experiences. I mean, so many title matches and shifting alliances. A lot of times the wrestling fans, especially with certain promotions, we wonder about storytelling short-term and long-term. But you're getting all that here at NXT UK, and it rolls on. Jack?
Yeah, I mean, we say it week in, week out, and I know it was mentioned in the chat asking about whether or not someone should try out NXT UK. Do yourself a favor and try out NXT UK. It's only an hour long, so it's nice and condensed, and I always say minute for minute might be the best wrestling show of all the networks, so really check it out. These guys and girls just go at it so hard every single week. The show's always great. There's never wasted time. I feel like every match I find myself not knowing for sure how it's going to turn out. And it's really, really fun to watch. It's one of my favorite wrestling programs on TV. This week was no exception.
Breath of fresh air, and I get so hyped for watching it. It is kind of weird for me as a wrestling fan because when I think of especially I grew up in the East Coast. When I think of wrestling, it's like nighttime after everything's done. Check it out, and this comes on like at 12 o'clock noon here in Los Angeles. But once you get past that, it's so much fun. Check it out when you can.
Yeah.
So this Sunday on NXT Prime, we have TakeOver 36, and it's going to be a banger. But let's go with the card prediction first, because everything that kind of happened in NXT kind of related to that TakeOver matchup. And first things first, a little bit of NXT UK flavor. Walter Dragunov 2, and we saw a little bit of Dragunov with his match against Roderick Strong this week. Jack, this may be match of the year. Now, is this a situation where the hype may be too much for Walter Dragunov?
As far as what the fans are expecting, it's always hard to say because, it's the hype is us. It's on us. If we feel like something's overhyped, it's our fault. We hyped it up too much. But I do, speaking of the build to it, I got to say, you look at that promo package they have where you have Dragunov saying this is war and all this other stuff. So intense. I was just watching that today. I think this is one of the most intense promo packages. Again, people who haven't seen NXT UK, I think, are in for a real treat. Now, they're going to have to deal with the traveling and jet lag and all that comes with going from Europe all the way to the United States. Mm-hmm. So that'll be an issue. It'll also be in front of a crowd. Last time it wasn't in front of a crowd. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I've said before, though, and I doubled down on that again today, I think Dragunov's getting too emotional. I think he's getting too caught up in it. I think he's getting too worked up. I don't think he's thinking it through clearly. I don't think he's really strategizing. I think that's what was his undoing last time. And I think that's why Walter is going to retain at NXT TakeOver.
Walter retains. If he retains, then he's a forever champion. That goes without saying that. If he retains.
I mean, how long do you got to be champion to be a forever champion? No one's held in the modern era a title as long as Walter. I mean, he may be the forever champion as long as he wants to be one.
It seems that way. He's definitely north of 800 days as the NXT United Kingdom champion. It is one to the record books. And I think that about this time last year, we argued about this, or a little after this time last year, we argued about this, who is the best NXT UK champion. And back then I said, hey, look, it's still Pete Dunne because he's had it so long before the pandemic and it's an asterisk. But I think that, and I said even back then, that asterisk is quickly fading and disappearing. Currently 866 days and counting as NXT UK champion. Fantastic.
Is it NXT UK World Champion after they I think I talked about that before, but is it NXT UK World Champion if they're defending it in different countries?
I think
continents, different hemispheres?
Their original title is NXT United Kingdom Championship, but I do think it's a world title. It has to be because it literally was defended on the world. Like, why not? Why not?
Right. I mean, it's the top title of a brand that is being defended across the world. I think it's the most international title of all the titles of any of the major companies on network television. Because even when you look at the same brand, even when you look at, I acknowledge Roman Reigns. I acknowledge the Tribal Chief. But look, man, you've got Walter defending against people from countries all over the world. You've got the women's championship being defended with people from countries all over the world. I think the most international title has got to be that NXT UK championship.
And Lamb, thanks for sticking around, says USA, UK, Canada, Japan, and Germany. Yeah, and it's rolling and it keeps on going. So yeah, it's kind of like a world champion in the traditional sense.
I mean, what other top title in a company can you list off that many that happened in that short of a time period? Like, I know that other world titles have been defended in other countries, but in the time period that the NXT UK title has been defended in all those different places.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I can't think of anything. I mean, you can throw in Saudi Arabia for the WWE title, but it doesn't seem nearly as glamorous because, of course, you're the top organization. Your champions can go whatever. But the UK is kind of like a brand that's like, I don't know, 1A or a tier 2 in the WWE system. To have that travel as far as it can just shows how prestigious it is.
And even then, Saudi Arabia is one place as opposed to, I think NXT, because they also did Australia. The main one, if I'm not mistaken, right? They did a super show. I can't remember how long ago that was, though. It was before the pandemic, so it feels like it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I think you look at this, and yeah, I don't know any other. I really feel that the NXT UK title, when you think about people defending in different countries from competitors from different countries and things of that nature, no other title does it quite like the NXT UK title does.
You're not wrong. Also, let's talk about titles. Karrion Kross versus Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship this Sunday. And well, unlike Walter, I can't see a future where Cross retains. Do you, Jack?
It does feel like first off, never bet against Samoa Joe. So that's part of it. It feels like this is Joe's time, which is weird because you would think that you would say this is Karrion Kross's time, TikTok. But I think with him dividing his attention between Raw and NXT, I think that might be the thing that really causes an issue there. I was thinking this. It's funny because Samoa Joe keeps calling Karrion Kross young champion. And if anyone else called someone a young champion, you'd think it was a compliment.
Yeah.
But when Joe does it, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, you inexperienced.
Yeah, but if anyone else is like, you'd be like, yeah, he's a young up-and-comer, already a champion, future ahead of him. But Joe says it, and you're like, oh, man, you just got put in your place, young champion.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm with you, man. I do feel like it's bet against Joe, and I do think this is a whole new era for NXT, whether you like it or not. After this Sunday, so I do think Joe wins here. But these championships are coming thick and fast. You look at the women's title, Raquel Gonzalez, La Reina, is taking on Dakota Kai, former friends but not enemies. That never happens in wrestling, right, Jack? For the NXT Women's Championship.
We used to be good friends, and then you turned your back on me.
You turned your back on me.
I am the tag team champions.
Where is Scarlett? Oh, wrong chance. Wrong chance. Sorry.
Yeah, this one, they did their little promos side by side, and I like that Dakota Kai reminded Raquel Gonzalez of all the things she's done for Raquel Gonzalez and all the ways she's helped Raquel Gonzalez get where she's at now. Again, this is gonna be a good matchup. It feels like we're ready for it. It feels like it's time. The promo is a good way to remind us of what's happening. But as I was watching this, and I think everyone did a great job, but the whole time I was watching this, I was thinking, I'm ready. I'm ready for these two to fight. I'm ready for it to happen. Let's get them in the ring. Let's see what happens. And I think this is going to be Raquel Gonzalez's biggest test yet.
And will she pass that test?
No. I am betting it's Dakota Kai. She will get the win. She's going to become the champion. I think this is her time. Again, I always like to back the smarter people. And no shot at Raquel Gonzalez, but Dakota Kai's crafty. I think she's got a strategy. I think she knows how to handle Raquel Gonzalez. I think the miles on the road is what's going to give her the edge of knowing how Raquel Gonzalez works. And she's going to be able to combat the strength difference with the strategy and those dangerous kicks that can take her out before Raquel Gonzalez has a chance to defend herself.
Now, Dakota Kai's not a bad pick at all. Everyone's been saying that she should be champion. Dakota Kai has what they call the tools, but week in and week out on this show, you said, hey, man, Raquel Gonzalez, she can beat the whole division herself. She can be the tag team champion. She can do this. And now you're saying you're changing course and flippity-flopping, and she's not going to walk out the champ? What?
You can have the most amazing army in the world, but once that Trojan horse sneaks in, it's too late. And I think that right now, Dakota Kai is someone who has that Trojan horse. She's gotten in the head of Raquel Gonzalez. She knows how she trains. She knows how she gets ready. She knows the things she's weak at. She knows all these different things. Those are things that other wrestlers who have faced Raquel Gonzalez in the past didn't have privy to. So Dakota Kai, she has these, you say she has all the tools. She has the right tools. That's the difference. She has the correct tools. Having all the tools is fine, but if you don't know which ones to take out of the toolbox, that's not going to help you any. Dakota Kai, this is her time.
Flippity flap. Also on the card, LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes. This next chapter of one of the most interesting stories of 2021. If Cameron Grimes loses, then Ted DiBiase will have to be a butler, Jack. And Jack, as a guy with dozens of butlers at your estate, how does it feel to be in this match?
Well, I think right now that LA Knight, he's a smart guy. He's doing a good thing right now. He's just working on building up the people that are going to work for him. Let me talk to you. It's a fact of life, Flobo.
Oh my God. How you like that? Yeah.
And we can make fun of LA Knight. We can imitate the way he talks and all. He's really fun to imitate, by the way. But he's smart here because he's not just sitting resting on his laurels. He's having his butler put in work, having him face big guys like Briggs. getting him worn down, getting him worked up, so that now when they have the match, he's not going to be facing a 100% Cameron Grimes. He's going to be facing a percentage of Cameron Grimes. And I know Cameron Grimes all fired up. He's using his catchphrase to the moon all over again. But LA Knight has already got the win here. He's already worn him down, as Cameron Grimes has been doing back-breaking labor week in and week out. That has been wearing him down. If Cameron Grimes couldn't beat LA Knight at 100%, how is he going to beat him at 50%? This is LA Knight's time to win. And again, he's going to reiterate that he is not only the best $1 million champion right now, but he's the best $1 million champion of all time when he makes the $1 million man a pennies on the dollar butler.
Dang. Well, you did mention some good points about having Cameron Grimes against Josh Briggs. Very smart move from LA Knight, and kind of cool they're doing side bet action. I'd say that's the future of wrestling right now on my whatever app you use for that kind of thing. Josh Briggs is pretty game, but it was all for naught. But the idea of softening up Cameron Grimes seems to have worked, but I can't go with that. Cameron Grimes has to, this is a must-win situation, because if old man DiBiase is somebody's butler, I would just cry and all the young wrestling fan tears I have deep in my childhood if he loses this one.
Cameron Grimes, he's going to put on a valiant effort, but valiant efforts rarely end in success. And that is going to, what we've learned about the way America works, Flobo, is the rich get richer. And right now, the $1 million champ is LA Knight. And I have a feeling he's just going to get richer.
And also, I think what's probably going to be our main event of that card. It's Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole 3. Prime targets. We got 2 of them for this one, so we know it's going to be a banger. Best of 3 falls. But we all know it's going to go to the third fall. That's not kidding anybody. Who do you got, and how and why?
What a letdown it would be if they if like one of them just squash the other one.
Right.
We don't get to the second match.
It's like 2 roll-ups.
So just to confirm, it's a regular match to start.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second one is it hardcore? What was the second one again?
No disqualification.
No disqualification. And then we end in a cage.
If necessary.
Last time they did this situation, this is the same 3 types of matches they had.
By the way, let's cut you off. It's technically a street fight, but come on, no disqualification, street fight, it's all the same.
Yeah. There's like 4 different names for the same thing. But what was it before? Who was the ones that we had a similar one like this before? Was it Gargano Cole? Gargano Cole, and it was the same 3, right? It was like the cage, street fight, then regular, then cage, or something like that.
But there was like the weapons of destruction match, where like there were things tied to the cage, like kendo sticks and like weapons and chairs. That was William Regal pick. So the fact that he didn't do that again was kind of a letdown for me. But yeah, it was a cage environment.
Well, we don't know. They might lower the cage and stuff will be on there.
But if Regal did that, you'll say, "Look at this guy doesn't care about his talent. I'm Jack Farr."
Well, he doesn't care. Look, William Regal's is hardly paying attention here, and there's some stuff that's happening, and we'll get into it. But the prime target, I think that's the real story here. The prime target is always amazing. They do such a good job with these. These promo packages are always awesome, and it always hypes me up. These guys are going to have a great match. I feel in the past I've said I feel like I've seen it. I'm ready for these guys to move on, and there's a part of me that is, but I also know that this is a match that could steal the show. So here we go. It's kind of like throwing it back a decade, but it's back when you'd always see Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady in football. Did you see it a million times? Yes, but it's always must-see TV.
And the fact that Tom Brady has that kind of rivalry with Mahomes now shows you how guy's been so good for so long. But that's besides the point. I have Adam Cole winning this one. Do you? And if you do not, why?
I have Adam Cole winning because Adam Cole always wins. Speaking of Tom Brady, you don't bet against the Tom Brady. And Adam Cole is the Tom Brady. He knows how to take advantage of every situation. Does he win in regular matches? Yes. Does he win in street fights? Yes. Does he win in cages? Yes. Why would I ever pick against Adam Cole? This is his brand. He's the best ever NXT wrestler ever, ever, ever. I'm going with the guy who is the best ever.
Dang.
I think anyone who goes with Kyle O'Reilly, no disrespect to Kyle O'Reilly, you're betting with your heart. You're betting with your emotions. And look, that's fine. It's just not successful. Bet with your mind. Bet on Adam Cole. He's going to win, baby.
Not sure if it's talking about wrestling or investment advice, but also always true. Moving on to elsewhere NXT Universe this week. Our main event on Tuesday was a tag team championship match, MSK all night and all day against Imperium. And well, even though MSK got the win and a rightfully deserved one, it seems that Imperium doesn't have the same luster they had a couple years ago. That is until Walter got involved and Illa got involved after that. Jack Farmer, questions I have. MSK are the tag team champions. We don't see them nearly often enough. And two, is Imperium even worth rebuilding at this point?
Well, let's start with MSK. MSK, they talk about how they feel like they've been overlooked. And I get why they're saying that. But my question to them, my response to them is, whose fault is it that they're being overlooked? You know, again, we talk about Tom Brady. Tom Brady's never overlooked. He's a champion, so we respect him. Patrick Mahomes, champion. We respect him. We don't overlook him. If you're a champion and you're being overlooked, is it my fault? Is it the fans' fault? Is it the opponent's fault? If you're being overlooked and you're a champion, it's your fault. You got to find a way to stand out. You got to find a way to get noticed. You got to find a way to not get overlooked. If you're getting overlooked, that's your bad. I love MSK. I think they're fun. I think they're exciting, but don't come to me and tell me you're being overlooked. Make it worth my attention. Make it worth my time. Now,
is this Jack Bayless? What's going on here? They're the champions. I mean, yes, they said it because they're hungry. They want to be successful, not because they like, wah, look at us, be all sorry for us.
Well, they said they're being overlooked. They're saying it. They're saying they're being overlooked. I didn't come out here and say they're being overlooked. That was their line. So my thought is, if you think you're being overlooked and you're the champion, then you're doing something wrong. No one is out here saying that we're overlooking Karrion Kross. You know, no one's overlooking Raquel Gonzalez. They're not being overlooked. They're the champions. So if you're the champion and you're being overlooked, then you need to do something. Now, as far as Imperium, here you are saying they got to be, like, is it worth rebuilding them as if they've not been rebuilt, or as if they're not been built, if they fall apart, they've crumbled.
They kind of have. Yeah.
These guys, did you see just how shredded these guys were? They've been hitting the gym. They've been dieting. They look great. For the first time in years, they're all together, it seems. Rebuild. These guys finally got back together. There's nothing to rebuild. They're built. They're ready. They're good to go. And they left Dragunov lying in a pool of his own blood today. This is a great day for Imperium.
To be fair, the blood was from this match with Roderick Strong, which was okay. But the idea is that there was a time when that music hit, it was like the next level was happening. But maybe it's familiarity breeds contempt. Maybe a lot of matches didn't go their way. It just seems that they were not the peak form they were before the pandemic. And there was talks, there was promos about adding on and adding new members to Imperium. That seems to have stalled as well. So I have to ask the question, this is it? This is the final form of the Imperium?
Maybe, maybe not. Right now, you think about Julius Caesar and you think about Rome and how powerful it once was, as we talked about Imperium and empires. Right now, they've got wolves at the door. They've got Dragunov knocking at the door, trying to take the king. You don't have time to think about expanding and growing when you've got an issue right there in front of you. They got to take care of Dragunov first. Then they can start expanding the respect of the ring here in NXT stateside.
Well, speaking about expanding rosters, the Breakout Tournament had a match on the other side of the bracket. The former Brendan Vink, Duke Hudson, took on Carmelo Hayes, with Carmelo picking up the win. Carmelo faces Odyssey Jones next week, or I think 2 weeks from now, for the final match of the Breakout Tournament. But this one here made me cry just a little bit because it marks another situation where Jack chose wrong and his guy didn't go to the finals.
I don't know what you're talking about. I said, you always cut me off when I'm talking, by the way.
What?
I'm always trying to say stuff and you cut me off. I said, the guy that beats Duke Hudson is going to win the NXT Breakout Tournament. I've been saying that from the beginning. And here, I said that. Carmelo Hayes, he's in the finals. I called it perfectly. I think really well done, Jack Farmer. Pat on the old back, as they say.
Can I continue? Are you finished? I don't want to cut you off. Because in my notes, I have Jack's pick is out of the tourney. Bring out the asterisks. Because I asked you twice on 2 separate episodes. Who do you got? Duke Hudson, sweet suit, bro. And he got killed. So what? You got, just saying.
I'm just as shocked you somehow found a way to interrupt me twice about the same thing. It's insane.
That aside, though, forget the fact you're wrong because it happens all the time and it's often. But you see that DDT that he took on the ring apron? Jeepers.
That actually, that, you know, we joke about clutching the old pearls. That was a gasp moment when that happened. That looked like it hurt so bad. I want to talk about Carmelo Hayes, though. I want to talk about Odyssey Jones. And I was thinking about something here, and allow me to get a little, to
I'll give you the solo screen because I love you so much.
Overbuild things a little bit, but we have the breakout tournament, and right now we have the finals about to happen. Carmelo Hayes, Odyssey Jones, and as we're getting into SummerSlam, and we're going to have Roman Reigns, the biggest name in pro wrestling right now, going up against John Cena, the guy who was the biggest name in pro wrestling. What's crazy about this is I look back to when John Cena debuted and or when Roman Reigns debuted, and sorry, I messed this whole thing up. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that when John Cena faced The Rock is what I'm trying to say. So Roman Reigns, John Cena, the two biggest. When John Cena faced The Rock, the guy from before him, it was the same year that Roman Reigns debuted. And when The Rock faced Hulk Hogan, the guy who came from before his time, that was the same year that John Cena debuted. And so what I'm trying to say here is Hogan faced The Rock the year John Cena debuted. John Cena faced The Rock the year Roman Reigns debuted. Roman Reigns is facing John Cena as we have the finals of the breakout tournament. We may be seeing either Odyssey Jones or Carmelo Hayes someday, years from now, facing off against Roman Reigns in a very similar, the best then facing the best now matchup.
I was on a ride. I didn't know where you were going. But you landed the plane, dude. I got you. I totally get that.
I fell off for a second there. I messed it up. It was such a good start. I messed it up. I confused myself because I was going backwards.
But you make a good point. This is what we're doing. The breakout tournament, everyone in that one. I mean, I know roster statuses are up in the air, but the ones that were in that tournament last time, we all know now. Whether for whatever reason, we know where they are, and this could be a big one. Odyssey Jones and Carmelo Hayes look like they're going to be the next chapter of NXT, wherever that chapter that may be. I know it's early, but do you have a preference? Do you think you have a prediction? I want to make sure you have all the time and space to think about who's going to win this finals matchup, Carmelo Hayes or Odyssey Jones.
I told you, the guy that beats Duke Hudson is going to win the tournament. It's going to be Carmelo Hayes. Anyone who could beat Duke Hudson is going to win this tournament. It's going to be Carmelo Hayes with a bullet. Record it, clip it out. That's who's going to win.
All right, for your sake, I hope he does win. I'm torn, but I was leaning towards Carmelo. I just feel like his bracket was a little bit more challenging, and then he has the momentum. Even though momentum's a thing they mention every month in wrestling shows, which I don't know what that means. He won momentum, but he loses anyway. Okay, but anyway, yes, I'll get Carmelo Hayes my pick to win this one as well. So I guess I'm on your side, unfortunately. But moving on elsewhere into NXT land. Yeah, we're friends again, but until now. Jesse Kamea and a jacked Robert Stone had a match against Index, where at the end of it all, Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis is getting married. The match itself was loony, to say the bit, because we have Frankie Monet saying ringside, but now we have a wrestling proposal. Those always work out in wrestling, right, Jack?
Imagine if you will, General Manager William Regal enforcing stipulations. Just imagine it. Imagine it. Then
happens.
We wouldn't have this match. This wouldn't have happened. This shouldn't have happened. This was a complete miscarriage of justice. The fact that this happened, I can't believe that William Regal sat there saying they made a stipulation and they're not going to enforce it. And in fact, right in the face of that stipulation, they're going to have a tag team together. And right in the face of that stipulation, they're going to get engaged. This is just ridiculous.
To be fair, the stipulation is really more of a gentleman's agreement. There's no security that's going to break these people up.
Oh, okay.
No sex for you guys. It's over. You lost a match last week. It's not going to.
A gentleman's agreement? How come whenever things don't go the way you want them to, it's all a gentleman's agreement? But when it goes the way that the world wants it to go, suddenly it's like, oh no, This is ridiculous, Flobo.
It's a gentleman's look. If Cameron Grimes lost his match last month and was like, "I'm not being a butler," William Regal can't do anything about that. You can't force him into chains that you're not working for LA Knight. It's a gentleman's agreement stipulation.
That is how the stipulations work. You have to follow through. This is complete. I'm gonna say it. Malarkey. It's malarkey.
Malarkey's my word. You got shenanigans.
How dare you?
It's my trademark, baby. Fine.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's talk about something we can agree on. Yeah. Robert Stone is a national treasure.
Woo!
It's a treasure. Tell me that wasn't a bit. What, from the ponytail to the dive to the outside. This is fun. I had so much fun, and I was gonna say, in truth, too, something that needs to be said. Jessica Mea's best match, I think, in a long time. She looked great today. I thought she had an amazing match. Frankie Monet messing everything up though, not knowing how to be on the outside. Come on, Frankie.
That's a weird thing. Like, I don't know what's her deal. Like, people are saying she's being misused, which I think it's not quite accurate, but I am a bit confused about her role in this whole thing.
Yeah, I don't really understand what the end game is here, but maybe we're not supposed to. Maybe Robert Stone is still putting things together and making things better down the line, but I thought he looked amazing. His outfit looked great. He was shredded. His hair was amazing. Unfortunately, he missed the dive to the outside, but that was probably one of my favorite moments of the week, was the dive to the outside.
I'm glad, because I know they were saying with being the Robert Stone character, whether or not he'll still wrestle, but the fact it was kind of a treat to see that he still got it. He still got it.
He really does. I mean, he really was great. I don't know if there's a reason he's not wrestling. I don't know how old he is.
Enough for you.
I mean, he seems young. I don't know, but the older I get, the younger people seem. I'm like, Ric Flair seems young enough to still. He can still.
Yeah, people born in 2000 are full adults now. You're like, ugh. October 1st, 1983, 37 years old.
That's not old then.
It kind of is old for an athlete.
Yeah, but I mean, well, like, because AJ's 42, right?
True. Finn Balor's 40, 45 is Lashley. Mm-hmm.
So if he theoretically has 5 years left, I wouldn't say hang him up for age. I mean, I don't know how he feels. Obviously, it's what he wants to do, but I don't think that's an age where I would hang him up. Speaking of, though, being older, I do gotta say, I mentioned Hogan earlier. I've said before, I always feel bad. It's really hitting me right now. I used to say that, like, when I think about the best wrestlers ever, people would always say, what about Bruno Sammartino? I'd be like, oh, that was before I was born. I don't really count him. But now guys like Stone Cold and Hulk Hogan are in that for people who are like in their 20s. And I think that hurts my feelings a little bit. Like, I could be like, oh yeah, Stone Cold. Yeah, he's one of the best ever. And they'd be like, it was before I was born. I don't really count him.
Oh, getting teenagers now being like, when I was a kid, I watched CM Punk. I'm like,
yeah, I know.
Whatever. You know what I mean? But Jack Farmer, we got to keep going, because it's time for burning questions. These are things I've just been watching and looking while I was watching NXT this week. Maybe you can help me out with this.
Okay.
All right. Is Johnny Gargano right? Are hot air balloons pretty cool?
They are kind of cool.
He's right.
I kind of want to get it. I've always wanted to ride a hot air balloon.
Oh, they have one in Orange County, man. We probably do it one day. It's fun.
I'm terrified of flying, but I still want to try it.
I could imagine like you and I on a hot air balloon, like totally like giving each other like the most dirtiest looks. The most like fun time ever.
Across the way, like, but both of us, we're different ones. They're like, go higher. I was telling the person who's like controlling it, I said higher. And that's how we started our around the world in 80 days.
Yeah, exactly. I was all upset. What do you make of this Hit Row Legado de Fantasma backroom brawl that happened this week?
I thought it was, first off, I thought Vic Joseph was a jerk for calling Escobar disgusting for taking the grill when it was only payback for what happened to him earlier. That said, Escobar just being an adult here, being the bigger man, saying, look, we went too far. Let's cool it down. And then Hit Row attacks him for no reason. Swerve throwing his jacket at Joaquin and Raul. I don't know what he was thinking. This guy's trying to make this professional. Escobar's trying to do the right thing. Hero just being completely unprofessional. I thought it was really a stain on professionalism in wrestling.
Stain. I mean, that's so dramatic. Malcolm Bivens loses a member of Diamond Mine and does it mention them or replace him? Worst manager ever?
I wouldn't call him the worst manager ever, but there's been some pretty unsuccessful managers out there. I do wonder what the talk in the drive home looks like after this week, though, where if you're Diamond Mine, the whole thing is about being successful, it's about winning championships and making money. They lost a member, lost a match, feels farther away from a championship than they were before. Kind of a tough spot to be if you're Diamond Mine right now.
Mm-hmm. JC Jane and Rich Holland, Pete Dunne both had promos this week. Which one made a bigger impact?
I would say Rich Holland. And the difference is, and the reason I say Rich Holland is because he was specific. He mentioned who he wanted to call out. He called them out. He set the match. Jane's was fine, but it was more vague. And it's hard to really grasp where you're going and what you're doing when you have the vague, I'm here to make an impact kind of promo versus, hey, Thatcher, you and me next week.
Yeah. We don't really do this around these parts anymore, but Samantha Urban, boothing of the week?
Yeah, I say, sure.
Hey, Jack, where's Scarlett?
I don't know. I don't know where Scarlett is. I don't know what's going on with that. I have no information, just so no one thinks that this is, but it is one of those times in the world where when someone disappears from TV for a little bit, you have to assume that there might be a reason they're keeping them away from everybody else. That's my first thought whenever someone's not on TV for a little bit over the past year and a half is if someone's not on TV for a little bit, probably not allowed to be around anybody else. But I don't know that. I don't know any of those issues. But that for now, that's what I would assume is what's happening.
Two more for you. Zoe Stark and Io Shirai are a team with Io hates it, but I love it. Am I wrong?
These odd couple tag teams are always fun to watch. I think Io Shirai's right, though. She knows about championships. You don't need to be friends. You just need to retain the title. You don't need to be best friends and texting each other and understanding each other's languages and cultures. As long as you win the match, that's all you're supposed to be there for.
Hot take, agree, disagree. For NXT to really survive and thrive, it needs to get out of the CWC.
I want them desperately to get out of the CWC. I want them to go and get in front of real crowds again. I think the CWC was amazing for when it was established, but now that so many other wrestling companies are out there in front of people, you need to get out in front of people. I
agree. What up, Big Money? Oh, man. We got to hang out again soon. Good times. Good times. Jack, that does it for us, man. It's a crazy week in the black and gold brands. I got some crazy wrestling to catch up on because it just seems to pile up week in and week out. But if someone want to check you out online, stalk you, understand how far along you are, your Symbiosis application, how do I go about doing that?
Yeah. So, by the way, the application is an IQ test, and I don't have time to explain to you what that is, but it's, only certain people can finish it. In any case, if you want to follow me, make sure to follow me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. I'm working on all sorts of stuff, whether it be championship wrestling from Hollywood, Santino Brothers Wrestling Academy, Wrestling Inc. Aftershow, the AEW Elite of the Week, which we're moving to Mondays now, by the way, for anyone who follows that show as well, so we can bring in both Dynamite and Rampage. Also do Anytime Radio, counting down all the best music of the week. And I think that does it. But follow me on social media. I'll keep you up to date there.
And your MVP of NXT this week?
Is without a doubt Pretty Deadly. I mean, tough match, got the win, looked great in a mustache. What more could you ask of people?
Well, for what it's worth, your awesome, superior host, Flobito, is going with Stevie Turner. I'm always a fan. Today she proves it. She can hang with the champ. But that does it for me as well. At Flobo Boys on Twitter, at Flobito on Instagram. Drapedandgold.com is a website to learn more about this show and all the other shows. We'll be back here next Thursday with episode 52. Can't believe it's been a year just hanging with Jack. Yay.
Can I say one thing real quick?
No.
Sorry to cut you off right in your close. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Music. Why don't you?
Yeah, what the hell, man? Help a brother out. All the reviews we can get.
Yeah.
So, but Jack Farmer, until next time, say the words.
Do your best and be yourself.